3, 4.
Na 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 Let's try and look like we know what we're doing.
Good idea.
Because we don't.
Yeah.
There's
Might
a
be a
thing,
struggle.
there's so many different parts, it's hard to remember
No,
who's
it's
going where.
because
And,
every chorus is different.
yeah.
Yeah.
Should we go again?
Okay. 2, 3, 4.
It's okay, we can give up, lose what we've got. Even though we both had enough, one more day, could I get you to stay? If I'm honest with myself, don't want you with nobody else. Just one more day.
Hi, I would like to introduce you to Louise. She is one of our female vocalists and she lives in East London and she's brilliant and she currently BVs for Jessie J. How about that?
Name dropping.
Yeah. Clang.
Yes, I'm Louise and I'm going to introduce Lloyd. Lloyd is a renowned soul singer and I think you used to sing in a gospel group with your brothers called the Wade Brothers before my time. No. And we met, but the whole reason I'm in this group is because I saw Lloyd at a music convention and he got in contact with me to get involved with Band of Voices and he's probably one of the best singers I know. So,
Never told me that.
he's a ladies man.
Oh, right, okay. I'll remember that.
That's true.
Well, I'm Lloyd. Thank you for that, Louise. Yeah. I want to introduce you to Andy. Andy is an extremely amazing character. He's so funny. He should actually be a stand-up comedian. But if it wasn't for his great vocal tones, his dulcet, deep bass and baritone kind of sound, he's absolutely amazing. He's done musical theatre. He's played in Greece and many other productions.
Still got the jacket and the quiff and sardines.
And when we really needed, when Band of Voices really needed somebody who could really get the lower tones, we called on Andy and he obliged.
My pleasure.
I'd love to introduce you to our Craig.
Craig.
No, Craig is a wonderful, multi-talented professional. He acts, he sings, he dances, he's ridiculously all-round talented. This boy is a massive threat. And he does, just take a compliment, dear. And he has an amazing soul voice. He's done a lot of pop and commercial work in voice and dance. He dances for big pop acts such as Little Mix and too many to mention I suppose. Has sung backing vocals for people like Will Young. He also acts and has an amazing show reel and he's just a bit incredible to be honest.
Oh,
sorry.
Well, I'm Craig. I'd like to introduce you to Katie, who, like myself in her early years, trained as a dancer. She's quite the good little tapper. And she's got an incredible voice as well. Reminds me of Mariah Carey, that kind of open sound, especially when it reaches the top. I really like it. It's nice and open, it feels free and sounds very pleasant, I must say.
Thank you.
I'm a big fan. What else? Katie has been singing for, well, at the moment, so you've done Leona, and we do Professor Green together along with Lloyd. Who else are you up to?
I've done backing vocals for people like Lily Allen, Niles Barkley.
Who's the
Craig
rapper
David.
you were doing of recent? The gangster hip hop rapper.
Oh, Angel Hayes.
Angel Hayes.
Yes,
So
she's from Detroit.
Katie was getting her crunk on.
Yeah.
So Katie's very versatile.
Very, very varied, yeah. I do everyone.
Like the rest of the members of the group, Katie's very talented. So I'm very lucky to be in the presence of such talent. And it's very humbling and inspiring.
So I'm just wondering, how did you guys get into backing vocals? I mean, Andy, you've been doing it a lot longer than us.
Well, yeah, I mean, I spent about 15 years in musical theatre in the West End doing various shows, and because I could read music as a child, which I'd forgotten I could as an adult, but somebody suggested that I audition for a fixer who fixed for backing vocals for whatever concerts and gigs and sessions might be. So I did, and the reading came back, and it was really useful because it allowed me to be able to do various, sight reading jobs. So for film music, for pop sessions, for I did backing vocals on the X Factor for 5 years, and various other things. So that's kind of how I got into it, and it's just really worked out really well.
Yeah, I got into it. This is really random. I got into backing vocals through doing a corporate show, which was actually an event to perform for a company, which we were doing loads of sections of different musicals. And one of the singers that was employed to do a section was my friend Hazel, who was singing for Will Young at the time. And I had a solo line in one of the sections, the Hairspray section it was, and we were doing You Can't Stop the Beat. And she heard my voice from that line, and she was like, "Oh my God, I really like your voice. I'm working with Will Young coming up. Would you like to do it?" And I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "I'm going to recommend you to the MD because I really like your tone, and I think we would appreciate what you do." And that was it. It was really quite fast track for me. It was kind of got the call. They had someone in mind, and then she said, "No, I think you prefer this guy. He's a bit younger, a bit more edgy," and that's how it came about.
I only started this year, so I was asked to do it, Jessie J, from somebody I knew in her band, and at the time I couldn't do it. This was back in May, and just because of schedules and stuff, and then they asked me again in September, and I kind of never saw myself as a backing vocalist. I always sang up front and stuff, so it was a bit of a decision. I had to kind of balance, going away on tour and not having the time to do what I want to do with my stuff. But it's been great. It's been really rewarding, and I'm so glad I decided to do it.
But considering the fact that you've been like a solo singer for many years and that, and just being new to backing singing, and actually singing for Jessie J straight off.
No,
you've been catapulted right to the top, haven't you?
Yeah, pretty much.
You can't go much higher than that, can you?
Beyonce
next.
I do a lot of backing singing. It seems to be the thing that I do all the time, mostly. I actually originally was working on my own album, and I was in the studio writing and recording, and I was about 17, and I got to the point where I was looking at all my friends around me, and they were all getting jobs, leaving school, earning their own money, and I kind of grew up not with having a lot of money as I was young, and I was petrified of not being able to keep up with my friends, which sounds really awful. It's like a very materialistic thing to think, but I actually wanted to go out and earn my own money despite doing something that I absolutely love. And I've decided that actually a good stepping stone for that would be backing singing, because that means I get to do what I love to do, and also I get to earn some money, although I had no idea what money was involved. I just wanted to be working. So I actually just signed up to a couple of vocal agencies, and that's where I got the Lily Allen tour, and I actually did her first tour. And then, I've kind of not looked back since. It's kind of, I've been on the BV train for the last 7 years, and I've not left.
Katie's the girl to talk to if you need to do BVs. She's like, that one.
What do you think it requires to be a great BV? Like, you've been doing it a lot longer than me, so what would you say is involved in that?
What's involved in it? I think it's understanding the part that you play within the setup that you go to. You're essentially providing a service to whoever the lead singer is or whoever the band is, and you need to first of all understand what is it they're requiring of you, and fit into that mould. Otherwise, it'll come a cropper, and you won't be with them for very long. So it's identifying first of all what style do they want me to do. How much of a role they want you to play, because it's very, very easy to take the normal way how you sing and go into a situation and then mess it up because you're singing normal to you, but that's not what they want.
Yeah,
they might
every
want.
gig is different.
Yeah, I mean, with myself, I'm pretty good at power singing, and belting and stuff like that, but that's not needed in every situation.
That's the thing that I love about this this business, is because every job is different, and you have to be versatile as a backing singer, but it really, you can go from pop sessions to classical singing to gospel to any style of singing, and and I love that variety of it. Something different every day. I got into musical theatre, and I was very fortunate to do quite a few musicals in the West End, and I think the performance element with when you're singing, you can bring part of that kind of acting persona to what you do as a singer. I think it really does help you. What are your feelings on that, Craig?
I think it does and it doesn't. I think sometimes a song can become, if it's not the right song, it can almost come across as theatrical. And actually, if pop songs come across as theatrical, then maybe you're not hitting the right I suppose audience. I think it comes into play where I think it's definitely good, like acting exercises I've done. It's definitely nice to get underneath the song, and when you're reading the lyrics of the song, it's really helpful to understand what the song is about, and I suppose let that drive you and come through that way. I definitely think, but I think sometimes it can have its, maybe you don't want a song to come across too cheesy or those kind of things. I think sometimes if you're acting on top of it, it may come across a little bit hammy.
I think you're right. With the pop stuff, you just want to make a sound. It's all about the sound. If you're, doing a session for a musical theatre thing, then that's a whole different thing. You bring that musical theatre persona to your character, to your voice.
Yeah, I think it's about being honest. That's what I think the most important thing is, about being honest to the song and really getting the meaning across that way. And I think there's a lot of stuff from acting training that allows you to bring that out and get that across.
So Louise and Lloyd, both of you guys have had your own careers and working on your own careers as solo artists as well. How do you feel that being a backing vocalist compares to being an artist? And does that conflict when you're on the job with another artist, especially like an established artist? How does that feel comparing the two and juggling the two? Is it something that's easy, or is it a challenge?
I think for me it's separate. It's two separate experiences and two separate feelings. I think when you're working on your own career and you're planning your own career and you're working on getting your own gigs and what have you, there's a tremendous sense of responsibility that's quite heavy on as a weight on your shoulders. It's like, if it's to be, it must be me, that sort of thing. But when you're singing for somebody else, for me, there's a lot of weight just taken off my shoulders. All I have to think about is getting my parts right and fitting into their situation in the best way. It's really a case of being in the right place, singing the right stuff, getting on, with the people in the band and what have you. And there's really no pressure other than that. So I quite enjoy singing for other people, because I can still be on the stage, I can still enjoy the whole experience of the live performance and get the buzz from the audience and everything, but without the added pressure of it being my career, so to speak.
Yeah, it's true.
Is that something you feel the same?
I get it. I don't necessarily agree. I feel, for me, I've always been working on my own career and I've never stopped, and I'm still doing that. But obviously I've joined a band of voices, so that's something else that I do. And I I've started doing BVs, so that's something else that I do. So I've kind of got all like these little projects and stuff. But honestly, my main focus is my career. But then, if our thing, you know, kind of takes off, then I'm involved. Do you know what I'm saying? It's something I've been doing. As far as conflict, I don't think that's good energy to have. So when I'm on stage and I'm doing my job for somebody else, if I'm thinking I want to be at the front, or you know, this is the longer I'm on stage, the less time I've got for me, like that's not the right attitude. At the end of the day, you're there for a job. Just like if I worked in Tesco's, I'd finish my shift so I could get my bills paid, you know. So it's kind of the same thing. And again, like I said earlier, someone like Jessie, I'm just learning and I'm enjoying it, and I'm singing out, and it's nice, and I'm being heard. And she's great, like she gives us solos, and you know, you get that little bit of exposure. So it's a great gig, and I don't for a second ever feel any kind of conflict, you know. And as long as I know that on my days off I'm putting time into my career, then I feel like I'm doing right by myself as well as doing my job. Do you know what I mean? So if I'm just lazy and I don't do anything for myself, because it is very easy to get comfortable in the BVs, because you know, it's nice, you get paid well, and you tour and you stay in nice hotels and you see the world and stuff. But if you do have a bigger dream, you know, it's not worth giving up on it. It's worth giving yourself that chance, which is where I'm at, you know, with us and with my own thing. So I feel like I'm in a good place because I'm kind of doing both until I'm tired. Do you know what I mean? So it's discipline, ultimately, I feel. It's being disciplined with yourself.
I'd like to think there's not too many disadvantages for being a woman in this industry. I always feel as though the music industry is quite male dominant, but actually I feel like that's changing. I think women are definitely becoming more present and more popular in the arts. And I think that's just society, and I think therefore that gives us just as much, you know, one. And you know, we're beautiful creatures. Yes, can you say? But I do think there's also a lot of competition for females. I think a lot of girls, when they, you know, think about what they want to do as a career, lots of girls want to sing or dance. I think men tend to be a little bit more either pick up an instrument or do something very masculine, like go and be a builder or a plumber. Whereas I think a lot of girls, such as us, for example, we grow up dreaming of being singers and dancers or models. And I think for that reason we probably have possibly more competition. So the chances of us being able to push through and be a bit more of a pioneer in singing work, you know, dancing work or anything like that is definitely going to take more. You're going to need to work harder.
I suppose the acid test really for any aspiring sort of like solo singer or, you know, star is to actually do backing vocals. You know, just to see if that's the sort of thing, you know, to see if that's the route that you can take into it as well, you know. But because that is a possible route. But also, I think even more telling would be, you know, would you actually feel that this is where you just want to stay, you know, just doing the background? Would that be sufficient enough to feed your desire to be a performing singer, working, jobbing singer, so to speak, or is the fire inside you burning so hot that, you know, you want to continue working on your own material and going for your own personal goal, you know? Because I think a lot of people come into singing, they just want to be a singer.
Definitely.
And they don't, you know, they have this big dream about being a superstar, but really most people probably think that they're not actually going to be a superstar, but they'll be quite happy with being a jobbing singer. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the acid test really is try background singing. Try it and see if it works for you. See if that's the sort of thing that you're happy to stay at. If not, you're the type of person that needs to go for, you know, go for the career, the solo career, so to speak.
My top tip as a BD, this is going to sound really funny and it's a personal thing, would to check that your ears don't have any wax. Because when I started this tour, I tried to get my ears done for my ears, and my left ear was blocked with wax, and I couldn't hear for the first 2 weeks of the tour. Well, I could, but not perfectly. And then I got it syringed, and then I caught an infection, and then I got really sick. So I would say, make sure that your health is in check, make sure that you can hear, because your ears are very important, and when you're singing with 2 people beside you, you need to be able to hear. So luckily, my pitching is quite good, so I was able to still sing in tune with a blocked ear.
My top tip for any aspiring BV or even working BVs, I would say be ready. In the context of, if you know you're going to work for a certain artist and you know you're going to start rehearsal, even if it's songs that you're not required to learn, look the artist up, look at, down to the way they're styled, what type of music it is, and really, I suppose, familiarise yourself with them, so that when you go into the rehearsal there aren't any surprises, and you're not walking into something that you don't feel familiar with. Actually, you're ready to bring everything to the table.
My top tip for aspiring vocalists, background vocalists, is to really study your craft. I think you can't know your craft too well, and you need to be able to fit into any situation, because you could be asked to sing for a wide variety of artists who have different styles. So it's really important to understand the different music genres. And although a particular genre might not be yours, it's good to know it as well, and know how to sing it, and know how to fit vocally within that particular genre. So say, for instance, if you're an R&B artist naturally, it might be an idea for you to learn how to sing rock, because you might be asked, you might get a very well paid job for a rock artist. So you need to be able to do that and fit in. So study your craft, study a wide variety of music genres, and be able to fit in at any given time.
My top tip for any budding backing vocalists would be just judge every job as a completely different job. So if you are a backing vocalist singing with other backing vocalists, remember you're not the lead vocalist unless you're asked to be. You have to therefore make the blend between the BVs very, very tight and important. And if you are the only BV and you get to come forward and be more present and more lead, then that's the time to do it.
My top tip is don't be late and bring a pencil.
Na, na.